Hello and welcome back to the 2021 River City Open coverage for our FPO division, brought to you by 616 Graphics, Discraft, Great Lakes Discs, and Wolfpack Discs. We're super excited to have you back for the back nine coverage of round one. And I am Zachary O'Haron on the commentator's mic, along with Innova sponsored Stacy. How you doing, Stacy?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for coming back and watching the back nine for round one.
Absolutely, as we have Lisa Fajkus with a hot neg 2 so far on the front nine. No mistakes yet, which is pretty impressive there with that stretch. The rest of the card is looking to kind of clean up a little bit here and see if they can get a couple strokes back from her before heading into round two. And they have to start with hole 10, 340 feet uphill. Used to be a keyhole OB, but no longer has that OB. Stacy, what's the play here?
The play is get as much distance off the tee as possible. Like you said, there's no OB, so you just kind of have to trust your upshot, read the wind, and hope for a tap-in birdie if you're lucky.
Yeah, no wind today was helpful. Most of the time there's wind on this hole, it comes towards you, which is a horrendous thing to happen to you. And we see J-Saw just kind of pumping her backhand as far as she could up the hill. And that's going to put her in that position to, like you said, try to go up and down. Just get a three and move on.
And this grass is also very grabby. So there's not much ground play to work with either, which takes off some distance as well. So I think for most of the FPO division, it's just textbook, get your drive, hopefully land near the pin for your upshot and make the putt and move on.
Yeah, three out there. Courtney really blasting that forehand out there. She is way out there. She might even be in like pretty close throw-in potential there. And we see Liz also pumping one out there into the fairway. That's her Mamba. I know that for a fact. Good upshot. Nearly putting one in herself as well. She's on the basket chasing crew now as well. J-Saw in a good position here. Just throwing an upshot and putting it right by the basket.
Parked. That's what you want to see. That is a textbook play for both of these ladies.
I'm going to keep saying it because I collect them. Sky got 2 up for Lisa Fajkus, and she's going to be so close that she can probably just, hand the disc to the basket.
Oh my goodness. I feel like that was another bid by Courtney Cannon.
It sure was. And another one nearly spectacular highlight. We are so close to having like 20 highlights on this channel.
Oh,
Liz,
this has been a round.
That was a putt for Liz. I'm going to say it. That was a 15-footer plus. That means that's a putt.
For like what, the second time?
I know. This is
round.
Man, I wonder what that's like to be so close to the basket on a regular basis.
If you're just joining the front nine, go back and watch it because she is literally touching the pole for at least the first 5 holes, and we just keep making a joke that she hasn't had to putt, but finally she had a 15-foot putt.
I almost wish I could go back in time and have someone kind of follow her and do that stat line and just like see how many times she had metal touches, and that would have been interesting to see. I mean, I would have put money after watching these first 5 holes. I would have put money on her to win it all, but
for sure.
That's just me. Hole 11 now, 336 feet. One of the more difficult holes here. It is very reachable downhill, but there's a double mando here. What do you think the better play here is, Stacy? The forehand or the backhand?
I think that depends on the player. I think it shapes up more for a backhand for where the left-hand tree is compared to where the right-hand tree is. And it is a double mando, so you have to get between those two. I wish I was less aggressive and just laid up to the front to get a 3 through those trees. Instead, I was aggressive just like this.
It's so close, too.
I know. And it was such a good throw. And it's like, parked?
Yeah.
What a great throw, but just unfortunately, this tournament won't allow it.
Yeah, Lisa, kind of what you said, just choosing to not be aggressive. That was a Firebird in her hand, and she just chose to throw a little pitch hyzer right in front of the mando. Oh, this is very wide. I wonder if
Courtney's doing a layup as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just laying up as well.
Which I think is a smart play, especially if you think that you're like, because this is, again, open field now, so the front nine is much more wooded, less wind impact. We are in the open field now, and wind can definitely make your disc bounce, turn over, hyzer early, and you can find yourself in a bad spot. Liz, a little early on hers, but had literally this perfect little window to throw her upshot.
That was a lucky little gap that she found.
Take what you can get.
For sure.
Oh my. Lisa definitely running that.
For sure. Well, and the interesting thing about the drop zone too, though, is that you have these low branches right here. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm going to have a serious talk with these baskets because they are hating on Courtney.
These are amazing bids. Oh my goodness. But you saw her disc even hit a branch. And when you're in the drop zone throwing from there, those low-hanging branches definitely contend with the run from the drop zone.
Mm-hmm.
So pick your poison.
Yeah, I think some of our players chose no poison, just lay up and then take a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a decision. There were 2 birdies on this hole, actually, between Cynthia and Maggie on our field for the day, which is pretty impressive, actually. So congratulations to them as we head into hole 12, 380 feet. Another slightly adjusted newer hole here for the course. It's way uphill first and then comes back downhill towards this basket location. I would say that it's exclusively a right-hand backhand shot, but do you think the forehand is there, or do you think it's too much power to get around it?
I think it's too much power. Plus, you have to have the disc a little bit nose up to get past the uphill initial off the tee pad, and it just creates it to hyzer out to the middle. If you're trying to get the birdie, you absolutely, for FPO division at least, you'd have to go right-hand backhand and try to aim for the big fat tree you see on the left-hand side. The basket is blind off the tee pad.
Oh, yes,
so
you're correct.
The only marker that you have is that big poofy tree straight ahead that you see here, but it's off to the left. But if you can get around it, you've got a bid.
Yeah, and all of these drives have crested the hill, which means they'll see the basket. So far, Jay saw the last one here to tee off. And almost smokes that post.
That was so close.
I'm glad she didn't smoke that post because I would have felt bad to ding your disc like that.
That would change
that would definitely change the flight characteristic. You're right. Oh, great. Oh. That was a good upshot from Liz there. Just a little extra skip at the end. Otherwise, it would have hit the pole.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you get when you have a bit of a downhill approach. For the spin, it'll keep it with that fast momentum, especially with the spin of the disc. Lisa having to go with that low ceiling still makes do.
Yeah, I was going to say, you saw a really nice adjustment from Jay Saw's upshot as well, choosing to throw a little more flatter, almost Anheuser, to kind of prevent that big skip.
Stop.
Oh, my Lord.
How is this? How
have they not gone in?
Made one yet?
I'm telling you, she's inches away from being course record for FPO. She's so close.
Courtney, if you're watching this, I apologize on behalf of these baskets because you have been robbed, my friend.
They're even from her own company. And I even like the baskets. That's the crazy part.
The betrayal.
The savagery. As we have a couple tap-ins left now. The unfortunate par from Courtney should have been a birdie. Dang nabbit, should have been, but nice cleanups there as we head into hole 13. This is an unchanged hole, so this has remained the same from previous years. It is 362 feet. It is uphill to an elevated basket, and these bush collections, these clusters of thicket or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if I'm using the right word. I'm going to continue saying it though. It is all OB. So if you land in it, that is an OB stroke, and then you can take your meter in and putt. So if you go left, you're in danger of taking extra strokes. So a lot of players kind of push that far right side to kind of make sure that they don't put it into play.
And I think this is another hole where the distance, especially with how uphill it is relatively unreachable for the FPO field. So for the most part, I think this is another one of those where you just try to get it close, get your upshot under the basket for a tap in, and then the added threat of the elevated basket too makes this hole just all the more fun. Yeah,
and I'm very interested to see what changes they'll make for 2020 2022. Oh, I had to think about that for a minute. I don't know why that was so hard for me to think of a year, but just because this is the reason they're playing the long layout, which is the same as the MPO and the MA1s when they play this on day 2, is because this is a new layout. And so they kind of wanted to see how it played difficulty-wise, and they talked to some people too. It wasn't just like a rash decision. But after seeing these stats, I'm very interested because the TDs are really responsive to suggestions, and they've taken more input on it now. And I'm interested to see what changes they make. Like you're saying, we've had a couple holes now that are you would consider unreachable for some of the FPO field. And so I'm wondering what kind of adjustments they'll be making, or if they think there needed to be any more adjustments.
In my opinion, I think this course is a great layout for FPO as well. The FPO the field is growing so much and so quickly, and we're getting so much better and better. And I think adjusting where the women's tee pad to be shorter, I just feel like the par should be changed. I think the course layout where it is right along with growing the sport in FPO. Like, we have every ability to play. I just, some of the pars are a little bit iffy, but
sure.
I personally, I think this course layout is great for FPO as well, especially with, the development of our division.
Yeah, and while we've been chit-chatting, we've kind of just been allowing these players to just kind of show us what a perfect 3 looks like on this hole, as all 3 of them perfectly executed a drive into the open fairway, stayed away from the OB, put it close to the basket, and we have exactly 3 pars. So nice job from our ladies there. And I'm going to put par in quotation marks, kind of what you just said there, as we head into hole 14. 461 feet, very downhill the whole way, but still very difficult to reach. Plays all of 400 feet. Kind of this narrow fairway if you try to stay, kind of pipe it in between it. Really just trying to lay up right as far down the fairway as you can. If you can get into the circle, that'd be great, but you're just trying to get as close as you can, then get an upshot and try to tap in if you can. Do you think the backhand is less or more dangerous? Because there are trees to the left. There's like pine trees, which is where Lisa's headed right now.
Oh, don't go in there.
Yeah, it's a really bad spot over there. Lisa's just short of it. Yeah, I love this hole a lot. It's probably one of my favorite additions to the course. The one danger about it is that tee pad. It's literally like, man, I wonder if my disc hyzer's out right there, if that's a problem. And then you do it and you're like, oh, there are people there. My bad.
Yeah. But yeah, there is that foliage on the left, short of the pin, that you want to avoid at all. Whoa, that is the ideal spot. That is exactly where you want to be. That is setting up for a great par possibility. But if you get to the left, it's almost like you overcompensate on the tee. Exactly what just happened here. You try to throw more right so that you don't end up in the left-hand side foliage at the end, and you kind of get stuck in this awkward position here.
Going to be contested there underneath that tree there for a putt, but it will be open. This is a very...
Oh, almost butter.
Almost getting our cameraman there.
She's had a little chuckle about that too.
And I'm 99% certain, I think that disc she threw off the tee is a buzz. That smash she had was enormous.
Yeah.
And it was with a mid-range.
Now, this is the perfect spot to be in.
Yeah, this would be ideal landing zone. And that's, just use the hill because it's a little uphill at the very end, which means you can just kind of lay it there.
That was a good bid. From it being so uphill, it's more uphill than it looks in the video, but to get the amount of power to get there from, I think she was probably a circle's edge. Yeah. She made a really good bid for it. Courtney shifting am side.
She's been having such a good back nine so far. And do you think the front or back nine is more difficult?
Back.
Yeah, by a lot.
With the way that the par is set up, I'd say.
Yeah.
scoring wise, the back is harder.
Yeah, especially with hole 17 and 18, which are coming up in a minute here.
Beast holes.
Yes. Unfortunately, Liz's first real kind of slip up there for a double bogey. She's really had kind of a great round up to this point. We'll see how she finishes. J-Saw also needed to clean up as well here. Nice little tap in.
Man, I'll tell you, she does love those low left side pocket of that basket.
Yeah, the 7 spot. It's her favorite. All right. We're going to move on to hole 15. This is another brand new hole. So 14 and 15 are brand new. 15, 325 feet. It is along the woods edge. So you're actually following where the drone is going wide of the woods. If you have the forehand power, it's really uphill. If you have the forehand power, I think that's the play. But otherwise, you'll see a lot of people try to throw a backhand and try to pan it flat into the circle area. Are you throwing forehand here, Stacey?
I honestly don't remember.
Oh my.
I think I threw forehand, and I think I kept hitting those trees straight ahead. But this is what I was most afraid of. Lisa had a good pick out, which is very, very fortunate. But if you get in that stuff, you are so pinched off. In my mind, if I would get in the right-hand side there, I'm taking an extra stroke.
Yeah, it's very, what's the word? Unterrained. I don't know what the word is. There haven't been people back there because their course has never been there before. So there's, older. Oh no, Courtney has gone into it. It's like you said, it's the one thing you just can't do, and it's really easy to do if you throw, especially an understable disc on Anheuser and you hug it close, because hugging it close is the play, or if you're trying to attack the basket. But it's such a hard angle control. All right, Liz with a forehand. Out early left. She's going to go back to the forehand with the Zeus. She's turned this one over as well. She's going to be in circle 2 probably for her look.
Just smiling it off.
Oh, and like you said, don't be in here.
Yeah. Very ungroomed and very, very difficult. If I was in here, I would just take my medicine and just get out.
That's the word, ungroomed. Thank you. You could have said that when I was struggling through it. I'm actually surprised here. I didn't remember this. I thought Courtney was way in there. I didn't think J-Saw was, but
J-Saw still had a good punch out of there.
Yeah, her second shot looked really, really clean.
Lisa going with the forehand around. Very well executed. Touch forehand shots like that without overpowering it it's very difficult.
I was going to say, that's a part of Lisa's game, that you don't see a lot on coverage, so you just don't expect it when you're covering her, but she'll whip out that Firebird forehand from time to time, and like you said, it's not a big power forehand, but she's got this soft little touch to it that allows her to kind of get around corners, and she kind of uses it as like a precision thing for her to kind of shape some shots when they're not available for her. So it's really interesting to see it, and it's like kind of that unicorn gem we get from some players.
Yeah.
Up her par, and she does so nicely. Good kick out from the woods for her. And Lisa's got to clean up hers as well.
I'm happy with par on this hole.
Yeah, it's a bonus birdie for sure.
Absolutely. I personally think it would take a throw in.
This is the hole this year had a bounty on it as well for an ace. Which
did it hit it?
No. Yeah, it's a tough hole to attack, let alone to ace. But hole 16 now, 356 feet, par 3. Another one that is gradual uphill. It's actually much farther above your head than you think when you're kind of staring at it because it's so gradual. A really tight gap off the tee. I think a lot of players like to throw forehand out of it just for that precision, or you throw backhand if you're trying to kind of really punch out of the gap.
Mm-hmm. This was a very scary tee shot. That gap is so small.
The potential to have problems on this hole are immense. If you hit any of those early trees, miss your line by a little bit, and you are in major trouble.
I would say bogey at best.
Right. And Courtney is going to be deep circle 2, but she will have a circle 2 look at that.
For Courtney being such a forehand dominant player, she is showing her backhand power. And it's just really, really impressive. And another beautiful shot off that tee pad. These girls are getting the distance that they need.
Yeah, they're getting all of 320 right now, so they're definitely putting themselves close to that circle's edge. And Liz looks like she nicked maybe that last pine tree at the very end of the tunnel, and she's going to get knocked down early. But as long as you're past the tunnel, it really opens up. So you just got to throw something stable or whatever your best upshot is.
Yeah.
And she's going to...
And it looks like she just does that just in front of circle's edge.
Bit of a tester there. Lisa with an upshot, giving it a baby run probably.
Oh, I can't tell.
And Lisa having a great round right now.
Yeah.
No bogeys. And if she bogeys this hole because of this, I'm not taking credit for that. That is not my fault. She is a foot away. J-Saw, I think she kind of left that one a little too high.
Little nose up.
Yeah, not quite the pitch she was looking for. Here's Liz with her 3 look. Oh, and that kind of fluffed a little bit. Air maybe picked it up a little bit. The wind is picking up a little bit in the later part of this round.
You're fine. Just be real still.
Courtney being a professional there. She had a couple people in her background that were moving a little bit, and so she just politely asked them, hey, if you'd be willing to sit still for a moment for me. They did so, and she banged the putt.
Dead center.
And she was so nice about it. It's like, I can't imagine anyone ever looking at her and going, no. Like, it's like, could you just hold still for a minute, please? I appreciate it. And I was just like, oh, like, I'm going to hold still, and I'm already holding still. I'll do it. Couple tap-ins here. And
an unfortunate bogey, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but still have a couple holes here, and these are the really iconic holes. 17 and 18 are probably the 2 most famous if you're in this community. 605 feet for hole 17 so far. This road on the left side plays as OB the whole way down. There's also an OB on the right side of the fairway, so you can't turn it over really hard right into 16's fairway. So you really have to have a precise shot. Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the best play here, if you have it, is a forehand over the road and hyzer it into that kind of left side of the fairway.
Absolutely, because I think the line of trees that you kind of see that curve with the road on the right-hand side, it's very easy for a backhand to get caught in those trees and just sit down, and then it's just awkward footing from there. So I think Courtney has the right idea here if you have the throw.
Yeah, it just feels super safe. And I know that like some MPO players, they even, if there's no wind, they'll get really gutsy and they'll actually play for a skip off the road to see if they can get a little extra distance. I would never be bold enough to throw that off the road, especially with a forehand. But I mean, it's definitely there, but there's a lot of risk involved because if you go over the road early, you have to come all the way back. You're probably only like 40 feet off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you have to, you have to trust and know your discs to be able to execute that kind of throw.
No, don't do it.
No,
come back.
Come back.
Oh, she knew it wouldn't either. You could see that kind of orange flag line / taller grass is the OB line on that side of the fairway. She kind of grip locked it over that side. Courtney is just grinding here. She's going to be a little short here, but literally 2 really textbook shots. 1, 2 up, and she is going to be just outside circle 2. She's probably sitting about 80, 90 feet. Oh, this is a turn in Lisa's hand. She's getting aggressive. Oh, she's going over on the right side.
Just don't skip into the road. Looks like it's going to be perfectly in the middle.
Yep. No, long grass. No skip allowed today. We got J-Saw looking like she's on the right side as well with that turnover she has. So she's looking to attack, and this is looking so good. I should not have said that. I mean, someone talk to that tree.
That was a really, really good throw. I mean, it looks like this is kind of the ideal spot to be is on the right-hand side around these trees to get that open left side.
You know, I think this is one of the great debates about this hole. The right side, even though it opens up at the very end, there's actually an overhang. Like one of the trees has some vines on it, and they hang really low. So if you get high enough,
Oh my gosh.
Courtney, you keep giving me heart attacks here. But if you can kind of see it there from that angle for a moment there, it get really low. So if you attack that second tree, which is what Jsaw was doing, if she stayed high enough, those tend to grab it. So even though the right side feels really good, you have to have a low skip, kind of skipping forward shot at the very end of its flight. And it's just really tricky. If you have, oh my lord, what is going on right now? But if you have the forehand power, I think the 2 forehands is the most open and consistent shot if you can do it, especially with no wind.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Liz is going to put it right by the basket.
As she should.
Just move
I don't
on.
know. With this hole, you don't mess around with this hole.
Yeah, this hole had by far the biggest scores on the day, even more than hole 4 and hole 6 and 7. This had the largest numerical scores on for the day. And as this little spoiler there was exactly 1 birdie from the FPO field today by Lauren Butler.
Lauren has really good power.
And I forgot to mention it earlier, but hole 15 along the woods line, that really tough one, she also birdied that hole.
Nice.
Yeah,
Impressive.
That's a couple of great bonus birdies from her.
For sure.
And Lisa just tapping that in. Oh, what does she putt with? What kind of AVRs are those? Do you know?
I don't. I want to say KC AVRs, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they were KC or if they were something else. I couldn't quite remember. Jsaw, unfortunately, going to have to walk away with a bogey there, just short on her par putt as she heads into hole 18. One of the more difficult holes and longest holes on the course, 786 feet. Each one of these little thickets, because again, I don't know what the word really is for this, but I'll learn at some point at the end of this tournament. Each one of them is OB, so this first one, which is really where you want to land, just past that one if you have the power for it. That's that first kind of landing zone, I think. Second one is past the second one. And then the third shot here, where the drone kind of pauses here. If you can land anywhere past that, give yourself a look for that 3 or 4. That is the best opportunity you have to attack this basket. Are you trying to crush it way past that bush, or are you trying to play short? Because that's the other option, is to play a little safer to stay away from that OB.
For sure. This thicket, as you call it, I think is right at where FPO finishes. Most of our throws are going to be right at the thicket.
Said space.
So for me, I think I was trying to do more of a flex backhand so that that didn't really come into play. I never executed it, I don't think.
Dang.
But Courtney playing smart, playing short of it, just not even bringing it into play.
Yeah, little nose up there to allow it to stall a little bit as well. There is another play as well. I don't know how smart of a play it is. I just know people go for it, and Jsaw is putting this literally in the best spot possible.
That is ideal. Another shot from Jsaw where she is perfectly in the middle, exactly where you want to be. Textbook how you write it up. Very impressive.
It's going to be just a touch short, so she knows her landing zones. She plays here a lot, so she knows what she's doing. But that other play, if you land to the left of this kind of bush area, if you have the forehand power, you can actually attack over the road and try to get there in 2. There's a lot of danger involved with that. I'm not suggesting you do it. I could never hit it in a million years, but it's definitely another play that I've seen some people go for. And don't worry, the right side, there is no OB line on the right side for today. I wonder if that'll change. I don't know. I kind of speculate and pretend like I know what I'm talking about, but that one I have no idea if they'll ever add an OB line on that right side. I know that there's been some question about it by some people, but that's she is safe on that side. And it took us a minute to find that disc, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, the card in front of us was actually much closer than we anticipated, so we had to wait on them anyway, so everyone kind of jumped in there and tried to help her find it. But it took us a solid couple minutes to kind of dig in there and find its location, even with spotters.
Oh, yeah. In practice, I lost 2 discs in there, and I couldn't find them. I eventually got them back.
Okay, good.
You just don't want to be in there. Don't do it.
Jsaw literally giving 2 textbook perfect shots. Those last 2 shots were really low. Turnover shots looked great. Oh, having a gap there for Liz. Nearly is going to punch through this. She's actually going to hang up in that tree, and she's going to be out in the open again.
And as we're getting to the green, you see the sidewalk on the right and the road on the left, and those two are OB, and they do come into
Sit.
This is it.
You had to say it before she threw.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
It's my fault. I'm so sorry, Courtney.
Going with a forehand here.
Is she going to skip it off the road?
I don't know.
One of those rocks. She
That's a
does.
skip. Oh, my Lord. That would have been
What a great
so
throw.
cool if it would have gone in.
Oh, that's so fun to watch.
I feel like this is maybe one of the channel's most biggest tease rounds.
Absolutely. This is probably one of the amount of throw-ins that I have seen on this round alone is probably as many as I saw throughout the entire season, I feel like.
It's just throwing opportunity after throwing opportunity. Liz just, by the basket, right she normally is. Jay saw here a little bit low. She's kind of getting a little frustrated. Earlier this season, she had an injury on her hand, and the Band-Aid on her hand actually caught onto the disc and kind of kept her from throwing where she wanted. She's a little not the way she wanted to end that throw right there. So she's going to have this longer putt here for 4. Oh, good bid from her.
Oh, good.
Not quite enough in order to get it in, but a great bid nonetheless. And Liz getting that last putt to go there.
Woo, she's laughing that one off. Oh, yeah, give that basket a love tap there.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Kind of tough for her at the very end of this round. She really had a great round going for those first 13, 14 holes or so, and then just kind of missed some opportunities there in the backstretch. But you can really see how much she's improved, and I'm really excited to see what her 2022 season looks like. We have Jaysaw there tapping in her bogey as well, and Lisa coming to clean up. And I think this is for bogey. Her one.
What were the stats on this hole?
Stats for this hole, there were very few pars. In fact, there were 5 of them total.
Oh.
Yeah, really tough. And Lisa, the only competitor so far for round 1 that shoots under par. We have 2 people at +3, including yourself. So we'll see you on the lead card for round 2, and Sarah DeMar is going to round that off for round 2. So super excited to see you guys. We're going to move over to Hammond Hills for round 2, and we're excited to see that. Thank you, Stacy, for joining me today.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys on the next round.